navigate to ant.design and let's check what components that we can use in order to make our UI look good. So here, open up the components link, and what I want to check is the layout. Let's have a look what layout they have. So here you can see that they give us some examples. So we can have headers, container, and then footer. And here we can see that we have already something that we can take and just reuse it, right? So here, something that could be, for example, our logo, and then these could be the links to other pages. And you can see that they have even more examples. So this is a side menu, which looks really nice. And this one as well is actually nice. So, and if I click on that, you can see that it really expands, and this looks good. And basically, so let's actually go and use, for example, this one here, right? So in here, we have the example, so show code. And what we're going to do is just steal some code. We're just going to take all of this and then give it a go. So let's go ahead and actually grab all of this. So layout, so the actual layout, so right here, grab all of that. And also I'm going to leave this in the description of this video so you can just copy and paste and go back to IntelliJ, and right here, let me close the student controller, and in here what we're going to do is the following. So for now, let's just remove the return student.map, and we're going to change this in a second, but here let's just say that we want to paste that code. So we want to basically return the layout for now. So return and then layout, and basically we need to import the layout, so on and so forth. So I could actually insert, but what I'm going to do is actually grab it. Oops, not from here, but from here. If I scroll up, so let's just grab, so we need to grab all of this, right? So we need to grab this, go back, and then in here, so let's just say import, and then paste that from, and then ant d, just like that, semicolon. And we also need to grab the icons. So let's just grab that, paste that in. And it seems that we have to install the icons. So let's go back to ant d and let's check the icon in here. So I'm just going to open up a new tab, and here, this is how we install it. So let me just grab this command, and you can find this command as well in the description of this video. And here, open up the terminal, and let me press Ctrl C, clear the screen, paste that, enter, and there we go. So it would be nice to see which version it is. So here, let me just see which version that we did install. So package.json, and in here you can see that this was 4.5.0. So what I want you to do is to, when you run this command, you say at and then 4.5.0, enter, and this will install the exact same version as I have in here so that everything works fine. Now let me collapse this, and let me go back in here, and I can close this. And we also needed to basically grab all of this. So let's just grab that and open up app.js, and you can see that the error went away. Paste that in. So let's just go back in here, and we need a state for collapsed and also a method in here. So what we're going to do is inside of our function called app, let's go ahead and have a method. So I'm going to say const, and then here I'm going to say collapsed, and then comma, and then set, and then collapsed, and equals to, and then use, and then state, and this will be false. So this is the initial state, and right here you can see that this was false. And basically this is using the old style or the class component, and we are using the functional style components. And then we need to basically use the set state when we change the state, right? So here you can see that this is how it's used. So we're going to see this in a second, but basically this is everything, right? And then we also need to add the CSS. So let's just grab this, and then oops, not here. So open up app.css. So app.css, and let's paste that in here. And let me go back to app.js, and if I collapse this, and now the last thing that we need to do is actually check this collapsed. So here, so collapsed, and we just have to pass the state in here, and I'll show you how to do it. So here, if I go back, and we have, so here, let me just put a new line in here. So here, what I'm going to do is, so on collapse, this will take the new state. So here you can see that it passes the collapsed, and I'm going to call it, so basically it takes C, and then here I'm going to say set, and then collapsed, and then pass C. And I think that I can just remove this right here, and this is much cleaner, right? So this set collapsed is this one right here, so our own method. So let's try and start this, because we've made quite a lot of changes. So npm and then start, and we have failed to compile, so collapsed is not defined. So let's see why collapse is not defined. Is it? Oh, actually no, it's fine, it's fine. So this was the previous error. So import in body of module, and this is happening because, so we actually have these two variables right here, and we should declare them after all imports. So if I save this, let's go back and check this out. Wow, this is nice. So here, let me actually make this smaller, and let me close this for now. Let me make this smaller, and check this out. The UI is looking quite nice, to be honest. So here you can see that this is working beautifully, and I can basically expand that. Basically the UI is coming live together. And yeah, so we actually have to remove a couple of things here. So for example, the copyright in here. So this maybe could be like Amigos code, and then change this and this as well. But what we're going to do is actually use a component to display nicely our table. So if you didn't manage to get this far, I've left the entire file that you can just copy and paste into app.js. So basically this entire file, you can just copy that and then paste it. So I'm going to give you that file or the contents, paste it, and that should work. So next, let's go ahead and experiment with this table component here. So where is it? Where's the table? So let's search for table. So table here, table component. So next, let's go ahead and actually use the table component to display our own data.